Hey y'all, I am here today to do a different type of review video. It's not going to be on a show. It's actually going to be on a YouTube page, and I'm going to be reviewing a video that Ayana made. She is a cast member on Growing Up Atlanta, and she recently made a video about why our hairstylists, the new hairstylists, so unprofessional. And a lot of the things that she was talking about, I've always kind of had issues with these things also. So I'm going to be reviewing her video. Her page, well, her YouTube channel is Ayana Fite, I believe that's how you pronounce it. It's Fite. And I really wanted to touch on this subject because I am a hairstylist. I've been doing hair for about 20 years. And the new hairstylists that are kind of sprouting up all over the place now, they do have some really strange rules, strange policies, things that I actually do have an issue with. So I'm just going to touch on some of these subjects. The title of her video was Why Hairstylists So Unprofessional, and I'm actually going to put her channel name and the title of her video in my description box because I kind of want to I don't want to really take away from the originality of her video, but I do just want to touch on some of the topics that she was talking about because a lot of those topics really do resonate with me as far as dealing with the new hairstylists that are out now that have a whole bunch of rules and policies, and they do sometimes they are sometimes on the more unprofessional side. So the first point that she made in her video was about pictures. And she stated in her video that a lot of the newer hairstylists, they will put in their rules or policies or requirements that you need to come with a full face of makeup because after they finish doing your hair, they're going to be taking pictures. And I do understand why a hairstylist would want to take pictures of their client's hair so that you could have something to show for your work. You want other people to see what you can do. However, I guess I would be in the category of the older hairstylist, even though I am still fairly young. I also take pictures of my client's hair to post on my Instagram page to show people my work so that when they do want to book an appointment with me or they want hair ideas or want to see actually the type of hairstyles that I do, I think it is good to have pictures of your clients on your Instagram page or on whatever kind of booking app that you have. However, I do not make it a requirement for my clients to come with makeup on so that I may take pictures of them after the appointment. I do take pictures of my clients' hair. I don't post all of the pictures. I really do keep a lot of those pictures for my records because I feel like maybe because I'm older, I do still print a lot of my pictures out. So one of the things that I'm working on is having a whole album of pictures that my clients can physically look through while they're either getting their hair done or after they get their hair done, or if they just kind of want to flip through and get some ideas about what they can do with their hair or how to style their dreads or whatever. But I absolutely do not make it a requirement to take pictures of people to post on my page. And also, if I feel like my client is uncomfortable or they kind of ask me questions like, oh my gosh, is this going to be online? Or if they try to cover up their face, like that'll let me know that they are not comfortable with being posted or they may not want to be posted. And I do take that into consideration and I won't post those pictures. And that's fine with me because I feel like I do enough hair to the point where I don't have to post every single picture of the people's hair that I do after I'm doing their hair. So to make that a requirement is like kind of crazy, because everybody's not comfortable with having their picture posted online, especially some of my older clients or just some of the younger people. And that's their choice, that's their preference, and I just do not see anything wrong with that. I don't have a problem with that. So that is actually a rule that I had never heard of, as far as coming with the full face of makeup so that you can have your pictures taken and posted online. Now, the second point that she talked about in her video was the unprofessionalism of some hairstylists. Now, she talked about them talking on the phone, arguing on the phone with boyfriends, friends, or just having drama going on while they're doing your hair, constantly texting while they're doing your hair, stopping to eat during an appointment. And she didn't say this one, but I'm just going to add that some stylists do like take breaks to stop and go smoke, and taking a long time for a short hair appointment. Now, I know back in the day when you would go to the hair salon, you know, a typical stylist that styles hair will be working on maybe 2 or 3 people at the same time, because they'll have clients sitting under the dryer. They'll start somebody's hair and kind of go through each process with each person depending on what style they're doing. Now, I do braids and twists and dreads and things like that. So I typically don't book more than one person at a time. I book one client at a time. And if your hair, okay, first of all, let me get more organized. I'm going to start with talking on the phone. Now, I am definitely guilty of this, as far as talking on using my phone while I'm doing someone's hair. However, I would never carry on a full-blown phone conversation as far as like during either half or the entirety of somebody's appointment. I think that is rude. Now, I do have children at the house. I do have family members that may call me while I'm doing hair. And in that regard, I will answer my phone to make sure that it's not an emergency, and, you know, that nothing bad is going on, or that any of my kids haven't been hurt or anything. So I will answer in that regard. And once I kind of find out like everything's okay and they're just kind of calling to talk, or they're calling to see what I'm doing, then I'll let them know like, hey, you know, I just wanted to answer this call, make sure everything was okay, but I'm working on someone's hair, so I'm going to have to call you back after this appointment. So in that regard, I will. But as far as carrying on a full-blown conversation with a friend or a family member and just basically just talking about whatever is under the sun with that person, or whatever they want to talk about at the time during a hair appointment, I will not do that. I do think that is super unprofessional. So I think it depends on how long someone is on the phone, or what type of conversation they're having, or if they have children at home that they do need to answer the phone for. So I think sometimes there are circumstances where hairstylists do need to answer their phone. And I think there are other times where they just absolutely should not be on the phone, especially if you're on the phone to the point where you're just completely ignoring your client and you're not interacting with them, or, you know, trying to talk to them. Even if you have a client that is there and they are not usually talkative and they're just quiet during the whole appointment, then still that does not give you the right to say, well, you know what, since this person doesn't want to talk, then I'm just going to call somebody else and I'll talk to somebody else during this appointment. So in that regard, I do think that's rude. I do think that can be rude depending on the circumstance. Now, arguing while you're arguing on the phone while you're doing somebody's hair, that is a big no, okay? That is rude, it's unprofessional, and I would absolutely never do that. If I'm having an issue, my client just would never know that I'm angry with someone, or I'm having an issue with someone, or just be aware that any kind of drama is going on around them while I'm doing their hair. I just think that is just completely rude, and I think it's immature if you have a stylist that's doing this. For young stylists, I wouldn't say that I kind of expect that, because there are young stylists that can be professional, but I just don't think that's an excuse. And I feel like if you're doing hair and no one's ever told you like, hey, you shouldn't be arguing on the phone, like, honestly, I feel like someone shouldn't even have to tell you that, because it's rude. The person, if someone's there to get their hair done, it's a business transaction. They're there to receive a service, and you're there to provide a service. So that is just completely rude. I don't understand why anyone would think that is okay, but I have heard that, from some of my clients or other hair videos that I've watched, that it does happen. So if any hairstylists are watching this video and you do that, just know that that is rude and it's unprofessional, and things like that would cause a client not to come back to you no matter how good of a job you do on their hair. Also, constant texting. And I'm assuming that she's saying that the person is constantly on their phone and texting during the hair appointment, which is also rude. Now, two things that I do not do during an appointment. I don't care how long the appointment is. I don't care if it's a 2-hour appointment, an 8-hour hair appointment, a 10-hour hair appointment, 12-hour hair appointment. It just does not matter. I will take a break if the hair appointment is extremely long. And when I say that, I'm talking about anything that goes over the 6, 7, 8-hour mark. However, if I do choose to take an appointment, if I do take a break during that time, because my clients can eat while they're there, or they can drink, or they'll need to get up and use the restroom. So I don't think they're talking about those types of breaks. But as far as myself as the stylist, stopping for 30 minutes to an hour to eat or go get food during a hair appointment, or stepping outside to smoke a cigarette or whatever during the appointment, I just think that that is completely rude. First of all, I can't do hair on the full stomach. I don't want to do hair on the full stomach. If I'm doing someone's hair for 8 hours, I will let them know like, hey, if you want to, we can take a 15-minute break during this appointment. But if you don't need the break, then we don't need to take a break, and I will do your hair throughout that whole 8 hours. And the only thing that I will stop for is to use the bathroom. Now, I know everyone maybe can't do that. Some people do need a break or whatever. So, I would say with that, just plan accordingly, because when someone is there for a set amount of time and you say, hey, this hairstyle is going to take 5 to 6 hours, then that person is expecting to be there for 5 to 6 hours. If it runs over a little bit, I can understand. However, to just stop in the middle of an appointment, I personally just do not do that. And I absolutely will not I would not step away from a client to go and smoke anything, okay? If you are a hairstylist that stops to smoke periodically throughout your hair appointments, for one, it's going to prolong the hair appointment. 2, you're going to get the smell of whatever you're smoking on your clothes. And if you're a hairstylist, you work in so close proximity to your clients that person could have an allergy to smoke. They just don't like the smell of it. And just the simple fact that you're so close to them, that's a smell that you should not want on you while you're doing someone's hair. I do understand that some people smoke, but if it's a habit enough for you to need to step away from your client once an hour or two or 3 times during a hair appointment, then maybe you just kind of need to reevaluate your priorities and try to figure out what's more important. Because to me, that is not important when it comes to someone coming to get their hair done. That should not even be a reason that you take a break. And people, some people will say, I'm not judging, and I'm not judging to a certain extent. But then on the other half, I kind of am, because that's something that you do in your personal recreational time. That is not something that you do during a hair appointment. That is very unprofessional. So I do agree with her on that. Now, taking all day for a short appointment. If I book my client for a 2-hour slot, they will be in and out within 2 hours. And I mean a shampoo, a condition, the style, and that's including sitting under the dryer. Okay, in that respect, it could run over maybe 15 to 20 minutes, depending on how long they need to sit under the dryer. But their hair will be done within that hour or 2-hour time slot. Whatever extra time that they're there, it definitely won't be an extra hour or 2 hours or 3 or 4 hours that they're there if I'm booking them for that. If I book you for a hairstyle that takes 4 hours, my goal is to be done within 4 hours. I understand some appointments do go over. If you're taking a new client, they have hair issues that you didn't expect. They may have gotten the wrong hair. There are things that come up that could prolong the appointment, but it should not prolong the appointment so much to the point that they're there the whole day for a 2 or 3 or 4 hour hair appointment. If someone's going to be there for 8 hours, then I'll let them know ahead of time, look, this hairstyle is going to take a while, so you might want to bring some food, you might want to bring something to drink. I'll have a movie, I'll play movies and stuff for us while I'm doing your hair. I'll entertain, but I will not have someone in my chair for 8 hours for a 2-hour hair appointment. I refuse. And then on top of that, that's taken away from the money that you can make, because you're not utilizing your time to the best of your ability if you have someone there for 4 hours for a 2-hour appointment, or even 5 or 6 hours or 3 hours or whatever. So if you've been doing hair for a while and you have experience, then you should know how long it takes for a certain style, unless that person is a new client and something pops up, like I said, as far as like a hair issue, or they didn't get the right hair that they needed to bring, or you find out they're allergic to one of your products, or things do come up. But with that, you should still plan for just in case. So I do tend to let new clients know, like, look, I've never done your hair before. I don't know the condition or the state of your hair. So we're going to plan for this, and it may run over. So I feel like giving that disclaimer at the beginning, if you don't know what kind of hair they have, or if their hair is thicker than you thought and it's going to make the hair appointment take longer, then you can evaluate that during the beginning of the appointment. Which brings me, okay, before I even get into that, the last thing that she talked about as far as being unprofessional was being late. And this is, I'm not gonna lie, this is something that I'm guilty of. However, when she was talking about hairstylists being late, she's talking about them running an hour to 2 hours late. Okay? That I would never. If I'm running behind because I needed to maybe run an errand between appointments, or I'm running behind getting my day started in the morning because I'm kind of dealing with my kids on my way out of the door, then 10, sometimes I will be about 10, maybe 15 minutes late at the most, but never an hour or 2 hours. That is beyond ridiculous. I wouldn't even expect someone to come back to me or want to do business with me if I'm consistently an hour or 2 hours late. People's time is valuable. People do plan their day around their appointment. So being an hour to 2 hours late to someone's appointment, you're not giving them a heads up. You're not communicating with them. You're walking in the door. You're not saying, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. You're not giving them a discount. You're not compensating them for their time. And no matter how good of a job you do, being that late to someone's hair appointment is just completely like, it's just unheard of to me to be that late to a hair appointment, with the entitlement that person will keep coming back or keep wanting to do business with you if you're that careless of how much time they're actually sitting there waiting for you. I mean, an hour or 2 hours. I do hair, and I don't even think I would wait an hour or 2 hours for someone to show up for a hair appointment or a nail appointment or something like that, because I do plan my day. Now, with that, she also added that although these new stylists can be an hour to 2 hours late to an appointment, they will charge their clients for being minutes late or for showing up to an appointment late while they're still working on someone's hair, even though once you get there, you're still waiting for an hour. Now, with that, since I do take into consideration that I could sometimes be 10 to 15 minutes late to a hair appointment, I never penalize my clients for being late, because things happen. People run into traffic. People's, just the other day, one of my clients was running late because her son bumped his head on when she was on her way out of the door, and she had to, kind of stop and take care of him before she left. And she let me know that, and that was fine. And, things do happen. So if you know that you're not the best when it comes to time, you cannot penalize other people for not being the best when it comes to time, especially if you're talking about they're 10 or 15 minutes late and you're charging them like $30 for being 10 minutes late when you're consistently having them sitting there waiting on you for an hour or 2 hours to get started on their hair. So, I mean, to me, it's common sense, but maybe to other people, they feel like, okay, you know what? I do a good job. I do these wigs. I do this. I do that. This person is paying for my services, so they're going to just do what I ask them to do. And it does not work that way. You are a service provider, and you are providing a service to someone, and it is also a business transaction. So you have to treat people the way that you would want to be treated if you were coming to sit down and get your hair done or receive some service, whether it's getting your nails done, eyelashes, or whatever. But I do feel like a lot of the new stylists have these wild and crazy policies that they don't abide by themselves. That leads me into her third point, when she also talked about the upcharge for thicker 4C hair, and also braiding someone's hair that has a blunt cut. That's just part one of this third complaint. So with that, I charge my clients according to how long of an appointment they need. So I understand to a certain extent that they're charging extra sometimes for thicker hair. And I actually, it's the simple fact that if a person with thinner hair can get a hairstyle in 2 hours, and a person with thicker hair is going to take 4 hours, then definitely there's going to be a difference in price. But if you can do that person whose hair is a little thinner the same, if it takes the same exact amount of time for you to do the same style on someone's hair who's thicker, then there should not be any difference in price. And she also mentioned that they charge a different price if you're getting braids and you have a blunt cut. And I'm assuming that she's saying like if the person's hair is like cut straight across, and they have, when the hairstylist does the braid, that there's going to be little hair sticking out of the braid or whatever. And that's kind of also the equivalent of doing someone's hair that has relaxed hair. Now, I don't charge extra for that, but I do let the person know that the way that their hair is cut, or if their hair is relaxed, it is definitely going to change the way that the style looks compared to someone who's getting that same style that's natural. I will not charge a different price, but I do let them know what to expect at the beginning of the appointment once I see their hair, so that they will have realistic expectations for whatever style that they're going to be getting. Okay, now part two of this thing that she was talking about for the third point that she got to was new stylists charging $400, $500, $600, but expecting their clients to come with their hair washed and blow dried. What is that about? If you are a stylist and you are doing someone's hair, how can you determine the health of someone's hair, or look at what their hair needs as far as long-term care. If you are not shampooing and conditioning their hair, that is the first interaction with that person's hair that you have. So how can you determine that unless your goal is to only do hair and make money and not actually take care of your client's hair long term, and be realistic and honest with them about what they need to do to continue to have healthy hair, or to get to a place where their hair can be healthier than it is, or where it needs to be as far as where they're starting from, as far as having damaged hair, brittle hair, thinning edges. How can you determine what your clients need if you are not going through that first step of shampooing and conditioning their hair? That is included in my price. I would prefer to shampoo and condition my clients' hair, because that lets me kind of look around and figure out what's going on with their hair. When I'm shampooing their hair, I can tell if they have a lot of buildup on their scalp. I can tell if they have a lot of buildup of product. I can tell if they're having dandruff issues. I can tell if their hair is thin, thick. Like that gives me the first interaction that I need with someone's hair, to let me know what I'm working with, and to also give them advice on what they need to do to take care of their hair long term while I'm doing their hair. And I also kind of try to, if possible, give them a realistic timeline on, okay, we're going to do this until this point. And once your hair gets here, then we're going to start incorporating this. Like, I just never asked someone to come with their hair washed and blow dry. I have actually had a couple people come to me with their hair washed and blow dried already. And when they get there, if they're a new client, I'll ask them, like, because when you get there, I'm looking at you, but I'm looking at your, my intentions on your hair. And this one lady, she came and I could tell her hair had been blow dried, and I'm like, did you shampoo and blow dry your hair already? Because I usually shampoo and blow dry my client's hair before the appointment. And she's like, no, I went ahead and shampooed and blow dried it. I'm not used to a stylist actually shampooing and blow drying my hair, because I've been asked several times before to come with my hair shampooed and blow dried. What kind of crap is that? I'm there to take care of your hair, especially if you don't know how to do hair. So why would I ask you to provide any services that I'm going to provide on your hair when you get there? You should not have to do anything to your hair unless you're in between appointments. Once you actually get there, you should be able to take your hair out, or have your hair as natural as possible. When you come to me, I don't even expect my clients to detangle their hair before they get there. If they choose to, that is their choice, but it is definitely not a requirement. That is what I'm here for. I'm here to do everything from point A to point B, and that includes shampooing, conditioning your hair, styling your hair, making sure your hair is moisturized. And that will also, again, that lets me know the condition of your hair, so that we can come up with a long-term or short-term care plan for your hair, so that you will know what you can do to better take care of your hair. And it still should be, I don't want to say low maintenance for someone if you're their regular stylist, but it should be as low maintenance as possible. The most that they should be doing in between appointments, depending on what kind of hairstyle they get, like I do dreads, box braids, twists, crochet. So I have clients that come to me, get their hair done. They'll take their hair out maybe a day or two before, and they come to me exactly how their hair is. I shampoo, I blow dry it. That lets me look at their hair and we go from there. So in between your appointments, if you're getting those types of style, you should not have to do anything in between your appointment before coming back to see me, besides keeping your scalp moisturized. And we even discuss that. What do you need to be using to keep your scalp moisturized? How often do you need to be keeping your scalp moisturized? Like, I just don't understand. If you're a hairstylist, I feel like you're not only there to do hair, but you're also there to educate your clients on how to better take care of their hair, because you're supposed to have the knowledge to be able to do that. This is your field. This is what you do all the time. This is not what they do. My clients usually have other jobs. They're teachers, they're nurses, they're magistrates, they're, service workers, construction workers, working at shipyards and in the military. Like, if a person does, if they're looking for a regular stylist, that is your job to maintain their hair, not theirs. You will give them advice and suggestions on what they need to do in between appointments and what they can do to better take care of their hair or try to correct certain issues. So they're having a part in it because, of course, you're not at home with them every day throughout weeks and weeks before they come to their next hair appointment. So yeah, you do need to give them some form of education so that they'll know what they can do in the meantime until they return back to you. And then that's when you take over again, do their hair, reevaluate, and then we go from there. Okay. Now, the last point she got to was something that I'm assuming is something that people do when it comes to booking websites as far as for doing hair. Now, again, I am in the old-fashioned group when it comes to this because I do not use a booking app, because I don't want my clients to feel obligated to need a credit card to book their appointments online, leave a deposit, or their cards end up being charged or something going wrong. Like, I've always made my hair appointments the old-fashioned way. You call me, you text me, you can write me on Instagram. However we communicate and you set your appointment, I want to talk, I want to discuss with you what works and what doesn't work. I need to ask questions sometimes, and I feel like I can't do that on a booking app. You're going to book and then you're going to come in, and then I'm just going to meet you at, through the app. And I don't mind good old-fashioned human interaction, okay? So you texting me, you calling me, you're writing me on Instagram. I would actually prefer that way because we can have better communication if I'm speaking to you directly about what exactly you're looking for. What do you have in mind? Can we do this? Is this something that I do? What are you expecting to get out of this hair appointment, especially if you're a new client? Okay, so I'm assuming that she's talking about booking apps. Now, in that aspect, she said, sometimes they'll have up there on whatever they have listed on their site or website or booking app or Instagram or whatever, to DM them for prices. And she mentioned that she didn't like that because with that, she feels like when stylists do that, or new stylists do that they're doing that in order to be able to charge different people different prices. And I actually don't agree with that. I feel like if you're a stylist, you do need to have consistency within your pricing. You do need to have set prices when it comes to certain services. And if it's going to be more, then you can let that person know. For example, I retwist and interlock dreads, and I let people know when they reach out to me. If it's a new person, they'll say, hey, how much do you charge to retwist locks? And I'll let them know for an average size or large size lock, it's this price. But if your locks are smaller or they're more dense, then it's this price. If you want to get interlocking, it's this price. But if you want to get interlocking on smaller or dense dreads, then it's this price, because the price should match the time. I don't understand. I feel like maybe a lot of newer stylists, they are being kept in business by people that want the wigs and the coloring of the wigs and the cutting of the wigs, the sew-ins, and some of these other styles that do take an hour or 2 hours, and people are paying $200, $300, $400, $500, $600, $700, $800, $900. And I'm talking about, I saw a post on Instagram where the girl was getting the really long braids that are in right now that go down to your knees or that go past your waist, and she wanted 3 different colors of hair in the braids, and The girl charged her $900. Now, is $900 a realistic price? Oh gosh, my camera's about to die. I got it in this video, but $900 is not a realistic price. Guys, thank y'all for watching. I will see y'all. Have a good night.